Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Real Talk Baseball and College Baseball. This is Ernie Orange. We have a great show for you guys today. I know we've been off for a long time, but we're back and we have a good show. Before I go ahead and give up the lineup of what we're going to go over, I want to see how you doing, Ernie. Everything good over there?
Hey, Carlos, we're back. Excited to be back here in Real Talk Baseball. We had a little summer vacation with the All-Star break, but we are back. Now we're 100 games into the season, and we'll see how the second half of the season all turns out. We're excited to share all this new news, trade deadline with you guys. So, yeah, Carlos, what do you think, man? Ready for the second half of the season?
Dude, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see all these trades. I know we've seen, and we've talked about it in the previous shows. Who needs what needs to happen? Like, it's a pretty tough time for general managers right now because they're trying to see: do we continue to add to our team? Do we take off from our team? Do we ship out players out to whoever needs these players to make it to the next level? So it's kind of like, an interesting time in baseball, and a lot of baseball nerds like we are, we're excited to hear these. So let's go through the lineup. I know we're going to go through each one of these. So we're going to talk Aaron Judge and the Yankees. Should they be trading? Should they give up? Or what's going to happen? Are they Judge dependent? We're going to talk about the Cubs. We're going to talk about the Padres. But one thing that we're definitely talking about, and this is a hot topic out there, is the Angels, Ohtani, and Artie Moreno, man. And you're an Angels fan, so this is one of the things that I want you to talk about because I know it sucks. You have everybody telling you, "Hey, man, the Angels are going to trade. They're going to trade Ohtani." I know you're tired of hearing that, right?
You know what? It's getting kind of exhausting, Carlos. Ohtani may get traded. I am rocking his jersey, and this may be the last week I ever get to wear his Ohtani jersey with the Angels. But, it's a strange time, Carlos. It's the best player in baseball we had in generations. And, to
Yeah.
trade him away, will Artie Moreno give up his best player he's ever had just away for any prospects? They are still kind of in contention. So it's going to be an exciting week to see what happens for
Yeah,
sure.
it's true. But you know what's crazy? That the trading deadline, it's happening right now, and the Angels are playing a lot better baseball in the second half, which I know is only like a weekend, 2 weeks in, but you can kind of tell where they're heading to or what they want to do. Because I've seen a lot of articles on Artie Moreno, and we've talked about it because you're an Angel fan, and you said that Artie Moreno wants to put a lot of seats in the butt. I mean, seats in the butt, butts in the seats. So they
Yes.
want to have that player that does that, and they have Trout and they have Ohtani. So I know, like we've heard that Arnie Moreno doesn't want to trade to the Dodgers, and that's their crosstown rival, which they play in two different leagues, right? And then the
Right.
AL, he doesn't want to trade Ohtani if this was to happen to where he trades to an AL team. So, like I don't know, man. It's not exhausting. It's kind of fun as a baseball fan. I know as an Angel fan, like you just said, it's exhausting. But for me, knowing the best player in baseball right now, talking about him every day, is kind of where we're at right now. And it's like, it's exciting, dude. Like it sucks, like you said, you're an Angels fan, but I mean, where do you think the Angels should go from here?
You know what? I've just seen a different buy from the team, Carlos, lately. The team has just been performing so much better. Looks like the team wants to win for Ohtani. Like as an Angel player, they just have a different the way of their approach to the play, man. It looks like they're ready to win. It looks like they're trying to make this run for him. Trying to get in the playoffs, man. This is the time where we can see Ohtani finally back in the playoffs. He's never been there. Who doesn't want us as MLB fans? I think we're all excited to see Ohtani and Trout in the playoffs, and I think that's why the MLB fans are ready for him to move somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. You see every page right now, Sports Center, Bleacher Report, they're all making other predictions where Ohtani's going to land. And it's funny because at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to happen to either or. I think he's going to stay put. I think Artie Moreno's going to do his best to keep him here for just now and try to convince him that, hey, we could make it to the playoffs here if you stick around. The Angels have
that's
been
true.
played with a lot of injuries recently. Trout's been kind of out. Rendon has been not available whatsoever. And then we have these young prospects called Logan O'Hoppe, Brandon Drury as well that are coming back. And, who knows what could happen. The Angels are really just a starter away from being a great team and pitching now too. So what do you think, man? You think these players,
Yeah.
how do you think it feels to be an Angel player? And then like knowing that all they talk about is Ohtani. They don't even care about you, right? They only care
Yeah.
about this one player. How's your approach playing baseball, knowing that, hey, man, if we don't get this guy to the playoffs, we're not going to be talked about anytime soon. So
Yeah,
it's
you know
interesting.
what's crazy, dude? Like, I'm not an Angels fan, and I like the hype that's going around the player, but the players around that player around Otani. Yeah, you're talking about Rendon. You know that there's been a lot of discussion. Is he still having fun? Is he want to keep playing baseball? And Phil Nevin just came out saying that he does. He's it doesn't show that he like it doesn't. It doesn't translate from his body language to fans, right? Because a lot of fans are saying, "Oh, he's not ready to play baseball. He's just out there trying to get his money." But I mean, who doesn't want to play baseball when they're in the professional? You're getting paid to do what you
Right.
love. I know it's an everyday thing, and he is struggling with his injuries. Like people need to understand that, and I'm pretty sure everybody's seen this video, and I should have put it on here when Otani walks to the dugout and Rendon gives him that, and he leaves him hanging. But it happens in baseball. Sometimes you need to concentrate and you need to understand that you had in the bat or you had to fly out or whatever the case may be that you were on the field, and you try to think about it while you're walking to the dugout. So Otani might have been going through that. So what your question is, like you said, that how does the other players feel when they are only talking about one player? So that right there is kind of like where you think about a business. We're talking about Artie Moreno taking the approach as a business. He doesn't want to trade Otani to the Dodgers if that was to happen. So I feel and I think that the players are still minding their own business, and of course, they're playing harder so they can get Otani and Trout to the playoffs. Chewy,
Right.
what's up, man? I just saw your message. I posted it, but I didn't say what's up. We do have another comment on here, Otani to LA, end of combo. Well, he is in LA if you really think about it.
No,
But
I mean,
I get what you mean. I know you want him to go to the Dodgers, and it's a great conversation because every baseball fan is talking about it, and
right.
there's no baseball fan on earth that's not talking about this happening. So when do you pull the plug? When do you say, as an Angel fan, you know what? Yeah, it's time. It's time to get something for him. And it's only what, August 1st is the deadline for the trades.
That is
Just so
correct. So
everybody's aware.
I
Yeah,
think this next series will determine everything, Carlos. These next two series against Detroit and Toronto will definitely determine where the Angels will decide. If we could get at least
yeah,
4 wins out of the next 6 here, that's a good sign that you should keep them and we should go out there and compete. But because August is
yeah,
going to be one of the toughest schedules for the Angels, and it's kind of concerning knowing that they have all these injuries. And if you can't compete now against the Tigers and Blue Jays, good luck facing these other teams that are going to have to face the Rangers, the Astros, the Orioles. These teams are tough out there, Carlos. They're playing their
yeah,
best baseball right now. And I don't really see how the Angels could compete if they don't make some moves now. So they got to win these
yeah,
next 2 series for sure. They want to keep in contention. They're only 4 games back. And looking back, 4 games is nothing these days. We have
yeah,
62 games left into the season, and there's still plenty of baseball left. So, man, let's see.
yeah.
Hopefully the Angels can make a deep run. As an Angel fan, I want this, but I'm also used to being let down the past 10 years. So I'm not gonna be surprised if anything happens. They have to trade them. It is what it is. We do have to get our
Yeah.
prospects. I know Artie Moreno's a businessman, man. He doesn't want all his fans going to the Dodger Stadium, but you wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers do get him in a free agency. They're just the best at convincing players to come to their teams. And,
That's
Tani has
crazy.
made comments how much he appreciates Mookie Betts' game. And who wouldn't want to play with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman? So,
Yeah.
top players like that, man, every time I watch them play, I'm like, I would want to be their teammate. Why not?
I
Right?
know it's kind of crazy. Like like I said, it's everybody's dream to have Ohtani on their team. He is the top player right now, and arguably can be the best player ever to play the game because we've had this discussion before. Like, is he better than Babe Ruth? And there's a lot of conversation on it. You have your opinions, and I have mine. Ernie has his, and like I feel till now, I think he's way better than Babe Ruth because he's doing things that has never been done before. There's different
Exactly.
eras, right? Babe Ruth played back then where he had a lot of different type of players compared to now. You have more nationalities playing this sport, and which is something amazing to me that this sport is so diverse to where it was back then. It's just amazing how many like languages are spoken out in the baseball field. Sometimes you understand it, sometimes you don't, and then it just gets lost in translation. But the love for the game is the same, and the love and the way they play it is completely the same. So, I mean, we
Man,
will
you
see
bring
what
up a good
happened with
point.
Otani. Yeah. So, like, I mean, what do you think? Like, do you think he's better than Babe Ruth, or
Definitely,
it's a
man.
big time discussion that we shouldn't touch?
You know what? At this point, I think he is better than Babe Ruth, Carlos. You bring up a good point. He is playing with more diverse players. He is facing 100-mile fastballs. These kind of off-speed pitches that we have never seen, Carlos, the slider, the curveball, the changeup. I don't think these pitches were available back in the 1920s, if you ask me. I think they were just throwing fastballs down the middle, and that was it. And Ochoa said Ohtani to New York, next subject. Well, the question is, which New York? I know the Yankees are the favorite, but I mean, if you talk about the Mets come off season, they have the most money to spend with their owner, Steve Cohen. So that's also an interesting take. And another good point right there with the Mets is that their current GM, Billy Epler, he's the one that convinced Shohei to come to the Angels. He was a current GM with the Angels at that time. So who knows if he has that connection with him in New York Mets and bring him over. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to have a job by the end of the season, though, but it'll be interesting if he still sticks around and see if he could convince Ohtani to come to the Mets.
Hey, that's a good point, dude. I didn't know that. So they probably have a good connection for them to go to the Mets, which is, really good. I agree with Gutierrez Cheeks right here. Dislike button. So
that name is
I don't
funny,
have that dislike. Yeah, dude. So I mean, wherever it happens, whoever, we just saw right now, I'm pretty sure everybody in the baseball world got that message from Bleacher Report that the Orioles and the Diamondbacks reached out to the Angels and asking what's the price for Ohtani if he does get dealt. So, I mean, it's a hot topic right now. Why not talk about it? You said ESPN, you have a Bleacher Report, you have all these networks talking about it. Why not Real Talk? Why not us talk about it and put our fan base podcast to work? Because we really are fans and we really want to see like the best in baseball. We really want to see if a trade does go down, like it's going to be an amazing trade. And I mean, think about going to the Orioles. The Orioles own the second best record in baseball, the best record in the American League. Imagine he goes to the Orioles. That team's already big in itself. Imagine Ohtani there. It'll just be crazy, And it's like it's baseball, man. This is the trades. The trades that happen, the biggest trades that happen in baseball are always like a thing where like it's Christmas, It's like a Christmas thing, like it's one of those things where it's like it becomes a holiday. Exactly, like who's gonna get the best gift? Who's gonna unwrap the best gifts? Who's gonna give the best players out there? So
man.
I mean, it happens that way. So look, we've talked about Ohtani, and I know we're gonna probably bring it up as we go on. If you're on here for the first time, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. We are trying to get to 500 so we can get more content to you guys. We are on Spotify now, and we are on the other social platforms. I know there's 7 people on here. If there's 7 people that like our show, go ahead and hit that like. We would really appreciate it. But let's continue with our show, man. I know we had the Angels talk, and we do have the other one where this is kind of where I feel like who needs to give up on trading. And we've talked about this a lot, and everybody's been talking about Aaron Judge and how he hurt his foot, or his toe, whatever it is. And I mean, you want to take it from here, Ernie? I know this is one of your slides, so I'll let you take it.
Man. No worries, man. Yeah, man, we are missing Judge badly. Poor Yankees, man. They can't catch themselves a break. They're currently only 2 games behind the wild card, and it's just been still so frustrating watching them suffer without Judge. The lineup has just not been the same, Carlos. They finally won a series since May this weekend against the Royals. It's just the Royals, guys, so let's not get too excited. And Anthony Rizzo finally hit a home run after 2 months. The team is just getting no protection in the lineup. It's just amazing to me how Judge makes a huge impact to this lineup. And I don't know, the team is starting to look a little old to me, Carlos. We have players like Josh Donaldson that's out for the season. DJ LeMahieu is no longer the same player. We got players like that. Gleyber Torres just got recently hurt. It looks like it's nothing major, but man, at this point, I ask myself, are these sellers or buyers? Because at this point, with this lineup, they cannot win, Carlos. They don't have enough.
I know.
They don't have enough talent out there to win. But man, knowing the Yankees, they're going to be buyers, Carlos. This team could never. I don't know. I just cannot picture myself watching the Yankees next week selling half their team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the Yankees. They're the best team in baseball in history, and I kind of see them making some type of moves, even though they probably won't even make the playoffs. But there's players out there for them, Carlos. That Cody Bellinger would be a great move with that small right porch out there. And another player I thought it was Dylan Carlson from the Cardinals. Players like that, man, bolster their lineup, give some protection to Judge. I just feel bad for the Yankees. I feel like they're rushing Aaron Judge to come back sooner than they need. But, man, they just need guys that can make contact with the ball, man. After getting swept with the Angels, this looked really bad for the Yankees. What do you think,
Yeah,
man?
and
Do you think the Yankees should sell?
look, I didn't know that there were only two games out of the wild card. I know they're in fifth place in the
Division.
East. Yeah, and that kind of looks bad. You know, you have the Red Sox in front of them. Actually, not even in front of them. I just point wise, believe they're a little bit in front. But then you have the
Right.
Angels right behind them, which is 4 games. You have the Yankees, the Red Sox, and you have Toronto, which is like the last place in the wild card spot. So you could see the Yankees sell all these players, but as the same way they sell these players, they're selling them so they can get something better at for them. You have Anthony Rizzo, that he's older. He hasn't really been producing a lot. He just hit his first home run since I believe May. So I
Yes.
mean, come on, that's kind of something to
That's
think about.
concerning.
Yeah, the Yankees have had a lot of first basemen before where they just hit bombs, and that's one of the positions that they really have a home run hitter there. You have Josh Donaldson that's not playing very well either, where there you have like what's going on, and then you have Giancarlo Stanton that you kind of have a big contract with. He should be hitting bonds, and he's not. You said it before, Aaron Judge dependent. You know, should we just put the New York Judges? You know, which is pretty cool. Like, I agree, man. I just feel like it's one of those things where I feel like the Yankees are still going to be contending. And yeah, you just said, we'll just get into it now. You said Cody Bellinger, dude. Cody Bellinger has been playing really good baseball lately. And another thing with them, though, the Cubs are still in it. If you really think about it, they're only 5 games out of the wild card, which is you have 2 months remaining in the season, and you have the Cubs where not as deep as the New York Mets, not as deep as the San Diego Padres or the Yankees, but you have these two guys that are there. You look at Cody Bellinger; hitting 319. He's in 14 home runs, 44 RBIs. That'll really help the Yankees. Or there's other teams that are looking at him. Like I believe the Astros are a team that's looking. Do you think he'll go there? I mean, it's a business. He has
It's a
to go play
business.
wherever they trade him to. And then you have Marcus Stroman as well. Like, so for these guys, and I've asked you this about the Angels, right? I'm gonna ask you this about the Cubs. Do you feel like the Cubs need to go ahead and start trading these players off? Because for me right now, it's kind of like I don't want to be a general manager, to be honest. This is kind of hard for me to even like discuss or try to get rid of, because you have the big Cubs faithful, and they're gonna be on you if you make the wrong move.
Oh, definitely. And it's kind of interesting, Carlos, how it all comes down to these next 6 games. How next 6 games will determine whether your team will buy or sell. And it's crazy. It's like it's coming down towards the end of the deadline, and you need to make these moves. But man, knowing the Cubs, Carlos, I know they're still within contention. But I ask myself, they should be sellers at this point. They have really good talent out there that they could trade. I think they need to start looking for the future. I don't think this team has enough to win right now. And, like Jamal just says, Dansby Swanson has been showing signs of life since coming off the IL. He's a great player that got a huge contract. I think they need to provide more support for Dansby Swanson. Cody Bellinger just has an expiring contract towards the end of the year. Why not try to get the most prospects out of him? Marcus Stroman, he struggled in the past, and he's finally having one of his top seasons ever in history. Why not try to get some more prospects out of him? Try to
Yeah,
sell high right now when you could get as much value as possible for a guy like that. You got guys that
yeah,
just came back from injury, like Kyle Hendricks, that was out for a majority of the time. He's no longer the same pitcher he once was, but hey, man, he has a lot of experience out there, and a lot of teams could definitely use him. And
yeah,
lastly, I think Drew Smiley's out there as well. That it's another great veteran pitcher, lefty, who doesn't need a left-handed starting pitcher right now. So, man, the
yeah.
way this franchise has been for the past 100 years, with one World Series given to the name, I would rather sacrifice this season and make sure I have the next decade and I'm making the playoffs with a bunch of talent going forward.
That's true. And if you were to ask me, I feel that I will sell high, like because of just what you said. Because Stroman is a huge part of why they're there in the first place. He's
Right.
been pitching lights out. I know I believe the Rays have been reaching out to the Cubs to see if he's available, if they're going to trade him. So I don't know what the GM is actually thinking about. Either are they going to go ahead and sell, or are they going to just hold out? So, like I said, they're not as deep as the other teams that I mentioned, because if they were a little bit deeper, then maybe I'll be thinking a little different. Like, do they have the potential
Right.
to make a run for it this last 2 months of baseball? And this last, we have 1 week before the deadline. and I think that phone is ringing off the hook right now because you have all these um, teams that are contending and they're trying to make an upgrade. I just saw an article on the Dodgers, and I am a Dodger fan, so I read it. So it says that they're all in on trades, so they're going to try to see what they can make better. You have the White Sox that are kind of have they have the for sale sign on their front porch, so they're going to go ahead and start dumping these players, and they're going to start receiving players so they can start building for the future. So I think Bellinger to the Yankees doesn't seem far fetched to me. And Yankee fans, of course, they want the Bellinger out there. His dad
Okay.
played for the Yankees. Why not have the son play out there as well? So Marcus Stroman, I feel like it's one of those players that is a 1 year deal with the Cubs. I know he wanted a bigger contract with the Cubs, but at this point, I don't think they're going to get it. Whoever he goes with, if it's the Rays, I think the Rays are going to benefit from him a lot. And the East is just going to
Yeah.
be one of those things where the Orioles and the Rays are going to battle it out in the last weeks because the other ones are. I feel like the other divisions are a little bit set. The AL Central is a little, wishy-washy. With you have the Guardians, you have the Twins battling, like switching positions, but the records say a lot. And then you have the Rangers, where you have the Astros are just right there. They're trying to make a run for it again to go to the World Series. So they have a lot of injuries. The Astros have a lot of injuries. So when I said Cody Bellinger to the Astros, it's not far fetched as well. And
It's
that can
not.
happen. Yeah. So I mean, you just
I
said
know Dodger
Smiley,
fan.
all these.
I know
Yeah,
Dodger
yeah,
fans
of
are not
course.
gonna like that, but he
Oh, of
has to
course
go
not.
wherever he's traded. Unless he feels his physical on purpose.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like it just has to happen where we don't like some trades are going to happen. It just happens that way. But I mean, it is what it is. So, okay, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
See, Jamal says Tariq Schoolball really showed out today. Do you guys think he gets traded to a contender?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like if that happens to a contender, it'll be probably after the trading deadline because they still need to see that he can go ahead and perform as the dog days, right? I guess August
The dog
is
days
the
of
dog days,
September.
and that's September. So it's kind of like those are the times that you kind of start like really evaluating players. So what contender team, Jamal, if you're still here, like what contender team do you think he'll be get traded to if he does get traded? I feel like right now I don't I don't see it happening, but I could be wrong. But I would love to hear or see what you have for that one because we're all baseball fans here, and we like talking trades. We like talking about our
Dude,
teams doing better, getting new players. You like to see new players in new places with new uniforms. So like I'm
and
one of
most
those, and I love
and
that.
most of these trades are going to be these short-term rentals, Carlos. Like players that you're going to be like, wait, he played for that team for like only 2 months, and you forget.
Yeah,
These are the
yeah,
players that we get on the immaculate grid that you need. Those players that you need to be remembering. And it's
yeah,
hard out there, man. These players don't really want to leave sometimes their towns, but they have to. It's part of the business, and they got to go contend out there and try to win a championship for their teams.
yeah. Yeah, I just feel like the Detroit Tigers have other players they can go ahead and dump. Like the Padres have interest in a few of them. I just feel like I don't know. The Tigers are focusing on Miguel Cabrera retirement and all that stuff. They're not doing
Right.
so well. Now, of course, you have the guy, the shortstop dude. I can't remember his name. Bias. Javi
Javi
Bias.
Baez?
They gave him a big contract, and he hasn't performed to what he should be
Yeah.
performing. So like in order for the Tigers to have a better team, I feel like they're kind of want Cabrera to kind of fade away, and then they go ahead and start trading these pieces so they can go ahead and be a championship team. And it's gonna take time. Personally, I love to see him in pinstripes. Whoa, with the Yankees, like why not?
Hey,
It
man.
could happen. See, so the thing with the Yankees, they have money. They have money to spend. They can go ahead and do whatever they want with that. And if the Yankees do get him, because I feel like Rodon is not going to come back and pitch this season, is he?
No,
I
he's
feel like
pitching
he's
already.
done.
He's been
He's pitching
pitching.
already, but
But he
he
hasn't been
hasn't been
he
doing
hasn't
all
been
that
the
great,
best.
right?
No, he has been kind of
Yeah,
struggling. Even the fans
yeah.
gave it
So
to him. The fans gave it to him at Angel Stadium, and obviously there was a lot of Yankee fans. There was a lot of Yankee fans out there, and they started booing him, and he just started blowing kisses back to the Yankee fans. And
yeah, yeah, yeah,
people took it kind of personal. They're like, "Hey, man, don't do that stuff." But it's tough being a Yankee player, man. It's a lot of pressure,
yeah,
and there's Aaron Boone's in the hot seat right now, and unfortunately, the Yankees could use as much talent they could really need, and they need it badly.
Yeah, they need it. But see, that's the thing, though. Like, Aaron Judge is not there, and he's not the only player there. Like, why are they not doing what they're supposed to be doing? And Aaron Boone it's in the hot seat because Aaron Judge is not playing. And
Right,
for you to sit there and be a fan of the Yankees, and I'd probably get some stuff for it because I know there's a lot of Yankee fans out there. They're gonna be like, "Oh, well, you don't know what it is to be a Yankee fan. There's 27 championships. We shave our like." Oh, you know what? Let me talk about this. Why are the Yankee fans? Why do Yankee fans have beards when the team doesn't? Shouldn't you be representing? Shouldn't you shave your beard? I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there.
nah, I
In
couldn't do
reality, I
it. I
think they'll
couldn't do
hold. Yeah,
it.
yeah, I couldn't do it either. That's why I'm not a Yankee fan. In reality, I think they'll hold him. Yeah, due to injury exactly. And that's what the thing with the Tigers. I think they're trying to rebuild and they're trying to keep it young, and they're trying to keep a young core there. It'll be interesting if it does happen though, because the Yankees do have not too big of a farm system, but they can go ahead and trade a good piece of the Tigers to where the Tigers can make a run for next year. Because remember, the Central, the AL Central is not as strong. Yeah, the White Sox are they have their yard sale going, and then you have the Guardians and the Twins. It's just like, come on. It's kind of
Right,
hard to have that division when that division used to be strong. Remember, it used to be
right.
a strong division. So it happens, and it happens to divisions.
The White
So
Sox
what
let
else
us
you said?
down. Let's see.
Yeah.
Jamal said, "How
Uh,
did you know I have a beard?" Uh,
I think everybody in baseball, I believe, has a beard. I think it's a trend, man. The
yeah,
trend
you
is
watch.
having a beard.
I
Yeah.
know it's a baseball.
It's a baseball thing, I think. All right, let's continue to the next one. We already talked about Stroman, and we talked about the trading. Let's go into the divisions, and this one's a tight one, dude. This one's really tight to where we have like um, the all the AL teams here. I believe only four teams are not in the mix anymore after the Mets. And I put the Mets on here because what I said earlier that they have a team to go ahead and make the run on these last 2 months, which is 7 games, which is is doable. You still have the Cubs, you still have the Padres, which we will get to the next. Um, so it is a wild card here, and that's what the wild card is. Oh, should we just put it? Wild card
Wild
is
card is
wild,
wild.
exactly. Yeah, the wild card. So you have the Reds in first place in the wild card, which they're half a game in the division, which they can go ahead and take that either them or the Brewers, and then you have Arizona. They're a half game back, and then you have Philadelphia, and this is before today's games, of course. The stats right now may change, and I know we're doing our show a little bit later, but this is what's happening now. And then you have the Marlins. They're right outside that bracket of the wild card, but they
Yeah.
could be in with just a few trades as well because I feel like the Marlins have the team to make it. They just need that veteran presence to get them over the top. Now, the San Francisco Giants. This is one of the trades that I feel like Artie Moreno will make if he needs to go ahead and trade Ohtani. He will do it to the Giants. This is
Wow,
how
really?
much he hates the Dodgers, dude. And this is how I feel. I feel that he hates the Dodgers this much that he'll go ahead and trade them to San Francisco. And now I
Wow.
will hate Artie Moreno a lot more if this
Ah.
happens.
Man,
So this is where I feel like, and I feel like Otani will like it out there in San Francisco. It's a nice stadium. Have you ever been?
I have never been, Carlos, and it's so beautiful, Oracle Park. And I was just
Yeah, yeah,
listening to a funny stat there. You know the McCovey Cove on the
yeah,
right field? You know how many right-handed
yeah.
batters have hit a home run in that McCovey Cove side to the right field?
Dude, I think I saw it, and I'm not gonna ruin it for you. I'm gonna say no. I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh man, well there has never been a single player to ever hit a home run to Willie McCove area in the state of Illinois.
Yeah,
No right fielder has
that's
ever hit it out there. That's crazy to me. That's a crazy stat after all
yeah,
these years being open. Candlestick Park, yeah, no longer available. It was a 49er
yeah,
stadium. That's where I'm familiar with this.
yeah. You know what's crazy, dude? With that stat is that I think it's because of how the air is pushing in,
Exactly.
and I believe you have to kind of hit it to where angle where it pushes. It's kind of hard to explain. but I feel like it's crazy that there hasn't been a home run to the right field side by a right-handed hitter on McCovey Cove. So whenever it happens, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a big party because I believe this park has been open since 2000, I believe, right? I
Yes,
think it's 2000 or 2000. Yeah, 2000, 2001, I believe, one of those two
sometime.
years. But it's now what, 20 years? That's a pretty long time already, and it hasn't happened. So, I mean, what's going on? Diamondbacks wild card. Yeah, I mean, you have the division West, which is like the Dodgers are kind of up there already with 4 games. That's why we're not putting up those teams up right now because I have the Braves, I have the Dodgers. They're kind of controlling their fate. I feel like the Phillies have a long way to catch up for the Braves, which is 11 games. And I just
Hmm.
got an alert not too long ago on Trey Turner making 2 errors at short. So he got kicked out for arguing. So it's like they boot him
What?
off. Philly fans boot him off. So I just feel like I don't know what's going to happen there. Um, but they could make a push for Juan Soto, which is our next segment, which I feel like I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. But I don't know. How do you feel about the Padres? And these are the top 3 guys that
Man,
are in San Diego right now that have the chance or the opportunity to go to another team or to just, keep them. And this is a deep roster. Like, what do you think?
hey man, this team is so loaded. Carlos is falling short of expectations. These three players mentioned above here in this image will be free agents at the end of the season. And I find myself, if you're a Padres GM right now, this must be one of the toughest jobs to ever have. What do you do, Carlos? Do you ready to sell? Or are you ready to buy? I think the Padres are just going to stay. They're just going to hold on to these players and could hurt down their future if you think about it. These
Yeah,
players, they should get a lot of talent out of them if they were to trade them away. But man, the Padres, what's going on,
yep,
Carlos?
that's
They,
crazy.
they, they are currently 10 out of 6 in the past 16 games and have come around. With being 5.5 back, I don't know, man. There's just so much competition in that wild card right now. I don't see none of those teams that are up there right now falling apart. And the Giants are probably the only team that are coming off a 6-game losing streak. But other than that, I think the teams
Yeah.
are going to stay. They're just going to hold. But they should be selling if I was them. What are your thoughts? You think
So
they
you
should
think
sell?
Look, I feel like the Padres are a deep team. They have the chance to make it to the next level. Look at what happened last year. They made that run they made their last push at the end of the month, which was September, and they went in and won the first wild card game in that series, and they went to Dodger Stadium to play the Dodgers, and they took one out of those two. They came back home to San Diego and they won it there, and they went to the NLCS, which is against the Phillies, and I honestly saw a lot of potential from these guys. Like, I feel like the Padres are still a team that to beat. I just don't see that the Padres are going to give up. You have Blake Snell; it's been pitching pretty well this last month,
Right.
and then you have Juan Soto has been kind of being one of those leaders out there for the Padres, and then Josh Hader. Look at his ERA, dude. 0.97.
I
At
know.
the beginning of the season, he was struggling, and now like he just caught fire. So
He really
um,
did. I
I
know he
just,
has
yeah,
4 blown saves, but I mean, other than that, look at that ERA. It's like almost like this guy's unhittable, Carlos, to end the game. He's one of the best
yeah,
closers out there. And with Blake Snell starting the way he's pitching now, you're right. The Padres could definitely make a deep run. And a lot of the teams that are currently in the wild card are very inexperienced and teams that have never been in these type of deep runs. So it's kind of concerning. And I can't see the Padres making a run. And that's where
yeah,
it's like, man, you do not want to be facing this team in September if they do get hot.
exactly. And Jamal agrees with us. I think they're going to stay pat. They're going to stay put, and they're not going to do any movements. But this is the problem I have. If the Padres, for some reason, don't win any games in this next week, I see Juan Soto either going to the Phillies or going somewhere in the East because they have a lot of interest in him in Philadelphia with Trey Turner, and then you have Bryce Harper out there. So they were teammates before. I don't see him going
Yeah.
to New York. I don't see him going to New York to the Mets because, like I said, the Mets are kind of in that indecisive. I guess I'm losing my words here. They would try to pull something to
Okay.
get Juan Soto if they're 7 games in the wild card. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of comments going on. If I'm not reading them, I'm sorry, but I'm putting them up here so the chat can continue. The chat comes. Can
Champions of the National League. All right.
All right.
And
Well,
I think so. You're right.
I
I mean,
hope so.
the level of
I
competition in the
hope
National League this year is much better than we've seen in a long time, Carlos. And these teams are pretty deep out there in the National League. So,
they
you know,
are. They are, which is kind of crazy to me that we're even talking about the Padres, the Mets, that they're like fighting to try to see if they're this week to see if they need to make those trades. Okay, so we've talked about the Padres, we talked about the Yankees. What is one player do you think that will help the Yankees? And we'll go with each team. We'll start with the Yankees. What is one player that would help the Yankees? Is it pitching? Is it a fielder? Is it someone out there that you feel? I know we talked about Cody Bellinger, and if you were going to say Cody Bellinger, my bad, but like there has to be someone else. There has to be someone else.
oh no, well they definitely need help with batting. So they definitely need like a DH kind of guy, like you mentioned, a first base type of guy, an outfielder. Please, they need help.
Yeah,
I'm not Cody Bellinger. Get him Dylan Carlson. Find them somebody, please. The Yankees need help, and they're
yeah.
calling 911 right now because they need somebody out there to turn off that fire. But yeah, man, Aaron Boone's getting the hot seat. They're bringing a new hitting coach. Andy Pettis coming out there to help out the Yankees. A lot of people are concerned, Carlos, and the Yankees need some help. Who do you think they should get?
I personally, like I said, the Cody Bellinger, but even
Yeah,
Juan Soto, man.
yeah, that
They
would be
can
sick.
work that magic with the Padres. They can trade off players because sometimes a change of scenery on players can do
Yeah,
magic, can do a lot of wonders. So I feel like if Juan Soto was to go to that short right field little league out in New York,
Little League.
it'll help. It'll help. And I'm saying little league because it's a little short fence, like I could put it out of there. I don't know.
Nice. So you think you still got it?
I don't know, man. My swing is not there anymore, but you know what I mean. I feel like Juan Soto will be a trade that the Padres might be wanting to do, because chemistry has a lot to do with it too. Like you have a lot of egos, and we've been talking about the Padres egos, and I feel like the Yankees need that power hit. Imagine Judge and Soto in the same team, Stanton, man, and then you have Donaldson. You probably have Rizzo coming back to life. Like it'll help out, dude. So. Let's move on to the next one. And this one's the Angels. And if they were to trade Ohtani or not trade Ohtani, and for this instance, not trade Ohtani, who is it and what is it that the Angels need? Do they need pitching? Do they need another hitting? Because remember, Trout is coming back from injury. He's going to
Right,
come back. He is going to be ready for the Angels. But what is it that they need? What is it that the Angels can go ahead and be
dude.
that playoff contending team?
We need another starter, Carlos, big time. Give us Dylan Cease. Give us whoever the White Sox. Jasper, give us one of your players. Stop wasting the time with the White Sox. This I got Chewy. Yes, you can, Carlos, hitting. I think he meant hitting dingers on Sunday League. Oh, Carlos, I heard you still got it then.
Then dingers right there. Yeah.
We got Gutierrez Cheeks. Angels need a miracle. Maybe we're just gonna start the wave on the show right here, like the movie. Maybe we could get a miracle that way.
So who is it? Who is it? The player? Who's the player? Who's the player? Is it pitching
Yeah, we
or
need a pitcher. I would honestly, Carlos, I would take anybody. Dylan Cease, Michael Kopech, Lucas Giolito. Well, I'll take any of them. Talking about a pitcher, starting pitchers, Shane Bieber's out, Carlos. He won't be able to return until September 10th. So he's in a
yeah,
60-day IL. He was definitely one of the trade talks for most of the season. And now it looks like the
yeah,
Guardians missed out on an opportunity to get a great prospects out of him. So
yeah,
bummer, but it happens. As baseball injuries come and go, and
yeah.
I think the
You
Guardians
got
will find other pitching out there.
you have Marcus Stroman, dude. You wouldn't want
Marcus
Marcus
Stroman,
Stroman?
dude. You
No?
know what? I
Yes?
wouldn't mind it. He's very I like his energy. I like how hype he is. He's ready to. He's trying to win
Yeah.
some games too, and I would think he would be so excited to pitch next to Ohtani.
Hell yeah, why wouldn't he? Look, man, when he pitched for Team USA in the World Classic, how good he was. He was dominating. He pitched for Puerto Rico this last World Baseball Classic as well, and he did pretty good. So
He
he's
did.
fired up from that. I think bringing that World Classic baseball into this last 2 months, it will really help any team. And I feel like the Angels need that little bit of attitude in that team. Like they do
They need
need
a
that
leader.
presence. Yeah, they need that presence, and they can go ahead and do it with Marcus Stroman. Why not? That'll be a great trade. And if I see it, I think it'll be amazing, dude. I think the Angels would have a shot of getting into the playoffs and probably even more because when some players make it to playoffs, their inner instinct of the game changes. You start seeing like some players that you never seen. Look at Rosario, like from the Braves. He was never good during the season, but come playoffs, this man turns it on, dude, and I hate facing that guy. He's a
Yeah.
Dodger killer, dude. So I mean,
There's guys like that
those
out there,
type of
Carlos.
yeah,
David
exactly,
Freese is another example. Players that just
exactly,
came clutch in these
yeah,
big moments, and
yeah,
they're definitely a rental, but these guys will make a difference and win you some ball games in the most critical
yeah,
moments. For
yeah.
sure.
So all right, and you said the Cubs. Let's just keep the Cubs out of there, and then the Padres. What do the Padres need to make it to the next level to try to get into the playoffs and get it going?
I think they just need bullpen help, Carlos. I think they need somebody that could hold the lead for Josh, just to get to Josh Hader. Somebody that could give him the
Okay,
whole 8 to 7 inning relief pitcher. The talent's there in the lineup. There's no excuses why they can't produce no offensive runs. Pitching,
yeah,
they have Michael Walker, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell. They got top tier pitching, and the closer, one of the greatest we have right now in the MLB. But they just need Nick Martinez has not been the same, and pitchers like that. They need a strong 7th, 8th inning guy. Someone that can hold it down
gotcha.
for them. And bullpen, at the end of the day, come September, come playoff time, Carlos, a bullpen will get you there. And
Exactly. Yeah,
so
and you know what? I feel like the Padres would probably need bullpen and one main piece in the batting lineup. Like I feel like they should go out and get a veteran presence, and a veteran presence for them will be like a Justin Turner. I know Dodger
yeah.
fans are gonna hate me for this, but they need someone that's been there and won it. I know it's a 60-game season, and I've heard it all over the place I go. The Dodgers didn't win a real World Series, whatever, whatever, but it still counts as a World Series if the Astros gets to keep their 2017. Anyway,
That's a good one. Hey, that's a good point. If they get to keep it, you need to keep it too.
yeah, right. So I think that'll even up. But I think Justin Turner in that Padre lineup will be amazing, and it'll be watch out everybody else, even the Braves. Chewy, I know you're a Braves fan, but I think the Padres are just a team that needs to wake up. Having a leader like Justin Turner come to that team and really really like spark something up. I feel like they'll get it going and they'll get in deep into the playoffs, possibly the World Series because they're deep, man. They have a great team. They have a
Yeah.
great team. They just need that one leader that can put them to that standard of champions. And I feel like Justin Turner can do that, and that's the veteran presence I feel they need. And we'll see what happens. I know we're trying to do the show once they make all these trades, and once we have August 1st, we'll go ahead and I think we're all going to get on that show. We're all going to talk about the trades that happen. We're going to argue about it. I hope it's a great show for you guys because I feel like we're going to see some trades that we don't like or we do like, and why didn't this team do anything? Because there's going to be teams that are going to stay back and say, I should have trade. I should have trade, but
Yeah.
it
This team just
happens.
ended up
Yeah,
giving this for that guy. Man, I should have just made the move. And this is where the trade deadline gets kind of
yeah,
interesting, Carlos, because a lot of teams
yeah,
will make these moves and it won't work. Won't work out at the end, and they'll just backfire their
yeah,
team for the future. 5-10 years ago,
yeah.
you'll be like, man, we really messed up that trade. We should have never gone for that move.
Exactly, exactly.
So
And I mean, that comes to the next topic. What trades do you remember that worked and didn't work for the past years?
Oh wow! So you want to go to top topic? Let's go to the Did you know? I'm not sure if you guys are too familiar, but since the trade deadline is looming around, one of the most memorable trade deadlines was just happened recently, Carlos, 2 years ago. And I know Chewy's a big Braves fan. He happens to be here today with us. But the 2021 Braves were one of the most exciting trade deadlines we had. They won the World Series. Since that trade deadline, man, at that time they were playing 500 ball during the trade deadline, Carlos. Ronald Acuna goes down with a right knee injury that's out for the season. And, this team was like wondering what we're going to do. They still managed to win the division, Carlos, come October. They traded for 4 players that all made a huge impact in the playoffs. And, I can't recall another trade deadline that made such a huge difference like this. There was 4 players. Jock Peterson from the Cubs. They got Jorge
Yeah.
Soler from the Royals, who won the World Series MVP. He had like 3 home runs at World Series. Eddie Rosario, who you mentioned, who killed the Dodgers in the NLCS, and NLCS. He won NLCS MVP that year and he came from the Guardians. And then Adam
Yeah.
Duvall from the Marlins. These 4 guys made a huge impact. It's crazy to me how they were just in the lineup for 60 games and they still managed to get along and go out and win the World Series. And
Yeah.
knowing that you don't have Ronald Acuna, looking back now, you're like, 2 years ago, like this guy is going to be the MVP this season, and he wasn't even part of that team to like win the World
Yeah.
Series.
You know what's crazy? Do you know like one thing that I remember because the Dodgers did play out in Texas this weekend, and they remember the 2020 season they had they played in one stadium. So
Right?
the Dodgers played the Braves, and the Braves were up 3-1. Chewy, do you remember that? I'm pretty sure you do because I know Freeman does. Muncie reminded Freeman, do you remember playing in the stadium when you guys were up 3-1? So it was one of those jokes where I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, that's true. Like, they played at the stadium in the 2020 season, and the Braves were up 3-1, and they had Acuna on that roster. Now, they
Yeah,
won the World Series without him. It's just amazing to me how they did it. And now, this year, with Acuna on the roster, and you have all these other players that are just, sparking it up, and he's a big time leader. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win the World Series this year.
yeah,
I didn't think the Dodgers were going to be in it like they are right now, and I'm happy, of course. But it's kind of like I didn't expect that from them. I didn't expect the Dodgers to be in first place right now. I feel like the Padres should have been in first place. That's how baseball is. Baseball
right.
works in magical ways where it's kind of weird. It's just I just wanted to throw that out there, man. Were you done with it? Did you know?
No, that was it. That was it. Yeah, that was one of the trade deadlines. I was thinking of all the trade deadlines I could think of, and there's some epic ones out there, but there's
Yeah,
nothing as great as this one. Those
yeah,
4 moves right there were crucial. When your superstar goes out like that, Carlos, most of the time your team has like done right. Like you're supposed to throw
yeah,
in the towel, like, hey, my best player's out. We're done. We're out of the season. No, you go pick
yeah,
up 4 role players, and they win you the World Series. That's insane.
yeah. That is insane. That is
How
insane.
about you? Do you
So
have any
mine,
trade deadline that you remember?
I don't remember like a trade deadline that had to do with them going to the World Series or winning the World Series. I wanted to do a did you know on this trade deadline because I forget that Mike Piazza, dude. I don't know if you guys remember Mike Piazza, but Mike Piazza changed with them. In 1998, he was traded to the Marlins, which was one of the biggest trades in baseball history. As you remember, Mike Piazza was a catcher. He was top of his, and everybody was saying, why did the Dodgers trade him? Well, it's not that the Dodgers wanted to trade him. It's just he didn't want to be a Dodger. So that's why who they traded for, dude. They traded Mike Piazza and Todd Seal to the Florida Marlins for Gary Sheffield, Charles Johnson, Jim Estris, and Bobby Bonilla. And you have the
Damn.
other guy, Manuel Barrios. So this was a huge, unexpected swap of 100 million in contracts, dude. In
Dude, it's
contracts.
just
So
some
think
big
about that
names.
trade. Exactly. Those are huge names. And everybody remembers Mike Piazza with the Mets, but they forget that he played for the Marlins. And in that video that I just showed, that was the first hit he got with the Marlins. So he does have history. Only there 5 games, but nonetheless, he wore the uniform. He wore the
5
uniform,
games
so he's
only?
yeah. He only played 5 games. He got 5 RBIs too, like out of
Wow.
18 at bats, which was pretty
Damn.
amazing, dude. Yeah, yeah. Like I remember, like when that trade happened, it happened in
Let's
'98.
see what.
I was still a kid, and I remember that trade happening. And are they trading Mike Piazza? Why did this happen? I just didn't understand what was going on. So when they traded him because he didn't want to be a Dodger. But if you remember clearly, Tommy Lasorda always said that no one wanted Tommy Lasorda took that chance, gave him an opportunity, and he rose to the occasion. And I just felt like the organization that gave you, your baseball career, you're not thankful for. I mean, I'm pretty sure now that he's older, he's thankful and all that stuff. But when you're younger, you tend to say things that you don't mean sometimes.
Right.
We saw that with Matt Kemp. He said that he when he got traded to, I believe, to the Braves, that this was a real baseball town, but when he came back to LA, he was like, you know what? I was young then, and I same thing happens to Mike Piazza. There's a lot of angry Dodger fans out there. I'm pretty sure that's like, I don't want to deal with Mike Piazza, and I'm one of them, dude, because he was gonna go to the Hall of Fame wearing a Dodger jersey, but then he was like, no, I'm wearing a Mets.
Oh
So what does
wow.
that tell you? That what does that tell you, right?
Yeah,
As a
yeah.
Dodger fan, that kind of hurts. It's like, dude, you came up through the Dodgers organization. You should have a Dodgers jersey in Cooperstown, but it is what it is. Not so much hate from me, but more love because he did play for the Dodgers and he did great with the Dodgers. You know, he just didn't win a World Series. That's on him, but he was one of the greatest catchers we will ever see, and hopefully we get to see other catchers. But yeah, man, that's a did you know from me.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's great. Look what Chewy has
yeah,
to say.
let's see. Mike Piazza was my mom's boyfriend, so she. I think a lot of people like Mike Piazza because he had that little stash going, that little firefighter stash. He had that bigger upper body, you know, like he did hit it
Yeah.
out of Dodger Stadium. I'll give him that. He did hit it out of Dodger Stadium, so
I was too
it's a
young,
really
Carlos.
yeah
The first baseball season I ever watched was 1998, and that's why I fell in love with the game of baseball. You know, it was one of the most epic seasons that MLB has ever had with the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire,
yeah
home run
yeah
chase. So
yeah
yeah, man, I did not know that Mike Piazza played with the Marlins. That's a
yeah
good one. I will know that for
yeah.
the future for my immaculate grid game. So I
The
don't know.
immaculate grid, dude. Yeah, Dodgers, Marlins, or Mets, Marlins, like that. That don't match because you have to have one game, right? One game with
Yeah,
the
one
team.
game,
So
one at
yeah,
bat, I
so
think.
yeah. The long hair curls, yeah, man. He had the curls for the girls, man, right there. So so he had that going for everybody. Dude, since you brought up 1998, I think I asked you this, and I'm gonna go ahead and ask you this on the show. We still got 8 minutes before we go ahead and log off. Do you think that with Barry Bonds breaking that record, which was 73 home runs or 72? 73, right? 73 home runs.
71,
He used
71.
71,
Barry,
71.
Barry Bonds was
Yeah,
at 73, yeah.
73. Okay. So then if he used steroids and he was never caught for it, but he was doing steroids, what do you think if Aaron Judge and Mike Stanton, see how big they are? Imagine how many home runs they will hit. You think they will hit 80 plus?
Damn, Carlos, if they were doing you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they even did more, man. Could have 80, 75. Why not? These guys are huge, Carlos.
Yeah.
And
There's
if
some
they were
big
doing
old monsters.
steroids and they were allowed, I could see it happening, Carlos. And just
Yeah.
Judge last year was hitting 62, and and he did it. I mean, we don't know yet, but he hasn't. He was never caught with steroids,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
guy man could just rake, and I don't see why they couldn't hit him out the ballpark. In batting
Yeah.
practice, they're just hitting them all the whole time. So
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
see it definitely happening, Carlos. 75 to 80,
Damn, with
easily.
steroids. Imagine it's okay. Otani right now has home runs. He's matched with Aaron Judge with the amount of games he's played, and he's on
Right.
pace to hit those home runs. You think he'll get it?
We're asking a lot for him.
Yeah,
Uh, I know it would be impressive if he passed Judge. Honestly, if the guy gives me 50, Carlos, I would be like, man, this guy is still one of the greatest to ever see.
yeah,
He's a pitcher and a batter. 50 home runs from a pitcher, it would be amazing.
yeah,
It would be unheard of, and I don't think we're ever going to see it happen. And I'm
yeah,
just glad that us MLB fans are being able to witness this epic milestone that I don't think nobody has ever witnessed.
yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah,
As
and
much as I want him to get 62, that would be great, right, Carlos? But I'm just like,
hell
for what?
yeah,
Just give me 50 and I'll be like, you're the fucking GOAT. I don't care.
yeah. Like you have the jersey there to prove it, and you're like, I'm done. I'm good. I got to see my the best player play on the Angels, and what you are right. Like so,
Yeah.
we'll see what
And we got
happens.
him for cheap. We got him for really cheap. The same. We were only paying him
Yeah,
for 3 million most of the time. And this season is the first time he gets paid 30 million. And I think he's getting like over 100 million just in advertisements and stuff in Japan.
yeah,
So he's
yeah,
making his
yeah,
money in the other way, other formats.
yeah.
Man,
All right,
let's
dude. We reached the point where we're gonna start saying our goodbyes. We still have 5 minutes, but we do have a Spotify network. We do have a few followers. If you haven't hit that follow button on here on YouTube or on Spotify or any social media that we have, go ahead and do that. Whenever you get a chance, that'll help us out. We're close to hitting that 500 here on YouTube, and once we do, we're gonna start, posting stuff, giving stuff away. I'm gonna make a jersey that we're gonna go ahead and raffle out. for the, I guess, for the number one listeners. We'll go ahead and do that. Also, I want to go ahead and say birthday to Chewy. It's his birthday today. If you're still
Nice.
out there, man, have a good one, buddy. Like I know it's uh, a good day, man. You should have a good day. Baseball all around. I know you love baseball. Just you're a baseball guru just like us, and we'll see if we can have you on the show one day, like to spread your baseball love and your baseball knowledge because you do have a lot. What else? What else? What else? I have one more thing. Um, we'll go ahead and post more videos for the Spotify because we want to go ahead and grow that as well. But if you haven't hit that like and the subscribe button, please do so now. Asking that, and if you don't like our content and we can improve it, go ahead and put it on our chat or send us a message what we can improve on. And if you do like it, give us some love. Why not? Like that'll help us out too. It makes us feel good. We're just fans that are trying to make it fun for everybody, make it to where it's a dialogue. We take it a little serious, but at the same time, we take it, where we want to have fun and make jokes out of it, of course. But yeah, that's my piece. But I'll go ahead and let Ernie give his piece for the end of the show. Go ahead, Ernie.
All right. Well, happy birthday, Chewy. Thanks for listening to us on your birthday, man. We really appreciate that. And always for tuning in every Monday. We thank you for that. But man, what a great show, Carlos. We had a lot of great content for you guys today. We are also back on Threads. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this new app.
Oh yeah.
And it's Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk. And we're on Threads there. We're keeping up with our immaculate grid. So if you are interested to see how it works and check our scores, we have our scores there daily, so you guys could check it out. We have great content for you guys, and man, we're excited for the second half of the season. And starting next week, gonna have a lot of content for you guys, knowing the trade deadline is gonna be finally over, and we're gonna see who's gonna be the top teams out there. So it's gonna be a great time for baseball, and I can't recall the last time baseball has been this fun for me. And with this 3 wildcard team, it's gonna be a wild one out there.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next weekend show for the trade deadline recap.
Gotcha. All right. From all of us here at Real Talk Baseball, I'm Carlos Baseball. This is Ernie Orange. Real Talk Baseball, signing out.